I believe that the defense requesting to go forward on sentencing after the plea as well today.
Ms. Strickland, they're telling me that you're going to change your plea to guilty to 4 counts in this indictment. Before we get to change of plea, I am required to go over some things with you, okay? How old are you?
54.
I'm sorry?
54.
How far did you go in school?
I graduated, well, I got my GED.
Can you read and write?
Yeah.
Are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you how the court would sentence you in this case?
No.
Has anyone threatened you in any way to get you to plead guilty against your will?
No.
Are you satisfied with the representation you've received from Mr. Mulligan's office?
Yes.
Are you currently under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Do you take medication that interferes with your ability to understand what's going on today?
No.
I have in front of me a document called a change of plea. On the second page of that document, on the line marked defendant, there appears a signature. Did you sign this?
Yes.
Did you read this and go over it with your attorney before you signed it?
Yes.
And you believe you understand what it says?
Yes.
This document says running a plea of guilty to 1 count of receiving stolen property is a felony of the 5th degree. That carries a maximum penalty of 12 months in prison and a maximum fine of $2,500. There are then 3 counts of forgery. Each of those are felonies of the 5th degree, and each of those carry maximum penalties of 12 months in prison and $2,500 fine. So on this indictment, you're looking at a total possible maximum penalty of 48 months in prison and $10,000 in fines. Do you understand the maximum penalties?
Yes.
Now you're all.
Your Honor's count 1, on by the 14th day of March 2025 through the 23rd day of March 2025, Warren County, State of Ohio, the defendant, Julie Strickland, did receive, retain, or dispose of property of another, knowing or having reasonable cause to believe that the property had been obtained through the commission of a theft offense, and the property involved was property listed in section 291371 of the revised code. As to count 3, on about the 14th day of March 2025, Warren County, State of Ohio, the defendant with purpose to defraud, or knowing that she was facilitating a fraud on another, did utter or possess with purpose to utter a writing, knowing it to have been forged in violation of section 291331A3. As to count 5, on about the 17th day of March 2025, Warren County, State of Ohio, the defendant, Julie Strickland, with purpose to defraud or knowing she was facilitating a fraud, another, did utter or possess with purpose to utter a writing, knowing it to have been forged in violation of section 291331A3 of the revised code. And as to count 7, on by the 23rd day of March 2025, Warren County, State of Ohio, the defendant, Julie Strickland, with purpose to defraud or knowing that she was facilitating a fraud on another, did utter or possess with purpose to utter a writing, knowing it to have been forged in violation of section 291331A3 of the revised code.
Anything on those facts?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Strickland, did you hear the statement that he read?
Yes.
Do you admit and acknowledge that what he said is true?
Yes.
And again, you understand all the rights you're giving up entering a plea of guilty, those rights we discussed.
Yes.
What is your plea?
Guilty.
The court will make a finding that you've made a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of your constitutional rights that we have discussed. The court will accept your plea of guilty, and based upon the statement of facts in your plea, the court will make a finding of guilty. Anything before I sentence Mr. Goodyear?
First, Your Honor, I wanted to point out, so there are basically 4 victims in the case. The first victim is a gentleman named Milton Carpenter, who has since passed. His daughter is present. So she's here representing him. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Ms. Kennard spoke with each one of the businesses that she could get in contact with regarding their feelings. And I didn't know if you want to say anything? Okay. The victim would like to speak, if that's okay, Judge.
Of course.
Just stand right here. I'll get it.
I'm the daughter. My name's Kara Ackerman.
Is this on which case?
So the receiving stolen property, Your Honor, is the checks,
checks.
and then the checks were written. Yes,
Gotcha.
sir.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. At the time, I lived in Lima, which is a considerable distance for me to come daily to check on my father. And I had Julie and Mike, because they had become friends with my father, help me with this. He was getting low on checks because I would fill out checks for him to sign for bills and such. And I let them know that the checks would be there and if they could please keep them safe for me. They then claimed that the checks never were delivered. So I went to Huntington Bank and I'm like, I don't know if they got stolen, misplaced, whatever. Huntington said that their confirmation that the checks were delivered to the mailbox. So I was like, can we please just void out those checks and I get new ones for my father? Which at that time, Huntington Bank did void those checks, so no matter who used them, they would have bounced anyway, even before the passing of my father. My father then passed, and in the time I was doing everything for his household and just trying to clean everything up and legally, I was getting messages and calls from businesses saying, hey, someone's using your father's checks, we're getting them bounced, you need to fix this. Because I was power of attorney on his account, so I would be the next person. That's when I found out that she was forging my father's signature.
Did she have a relationship with your father? How did she?
Besides neighbors, no, they were just neighbors and friends of.
Okay.
And because I lived so far away and I couldn't check on my father daily, they were the ones I trusted to do this, unfortunately. I've even, since I found out about everything that happened in Warren County, Montgomery County has contacted me saying that she did bad checks in their area and was wondering if I knew. So this has broken something in me. Like, I don't trust people very easily anyway, but this, like, I thought we trusted them. They lived across the street from my father for 10, 12 years, and they would help him mow, they would get him groceries, do his laundry, things that I couldn't do on the regular. And now, like, I don't even trust my neighbors. Like, we've got so many cameras up, I watch them constantly. Like, this has broken something in me. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Goodyear, anything else?
Your Honor, the only thing I wanted to add for the businesses is I spoke with the businesses yesterday about a potential agreed sentence of 18 months in prison. It's unusual, but the businesses actually, their position was they thought 18 months in prison was not enough. They thought she needed more. It's actually, their businesses are local to the community that she lives in. One of the people at the business, unbeknownst to them, they didn't realize that her father had passed. Julie actually tried to rent the property out to this person, and then they found out, fortunately they hadn't given her money, but they found out the hard way that that place wasn't even up for rent, and that he had passed. So I think there's just a lot of layers of deception, and they felt, the businesses themselves felt like 18 months in prison wasn't sufficient.
Thank you. Anything on behalf of the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. Regarding the charges here, Ms. Strickland has entered a complete admission of guilt, taking accountability for her actions, and as the complaining witness has stated, that the chain of events that stemmed from this have spanned into Montgomery County, which Ms. Strickland has retained us for, that we represent her on, and she is being sentenced in that court later in this month, taking accountability for those same actions. I have two money orders here from Ms. Strickland and her family, both totaling at $2,000 to pay the entire, both totaling at $4,000, I apologize, to pay the entire restitution amount for these active cases, along with her probation violation and the restitution in that case, to coincide with Ms. Strickland's admission of guilt and to take accountability for her actions, that she is ready to either give to the probation department today, or however the court would see fit, in order to pay that restitution amount.
Where did this money come from?
It is my understanding that these are two checks from her father, I believe. Oh, from Mike, her husband. I apologize.
Are these checks or?
These are money orders from, it appears, People's Bank, Your Honor.
Mr. Goodyear?
Judge, I understand that the money orders are of a different nature than a bank check. But considering the history here, before the court takes any action, I would certainly want to verify.
I agree. At this point in time, Ms. Strickland, quite frankly, I don't trust you. I took a gander at your history, your criminal history that dates back over 25 years of stealing from other people. I'm going to send you to prison, but right now, I don't know for how long, to be honest with you. I'm going to reschedule this hearing. We can come back and do sentencing at a later date, but quite frankly, I don't trust that those money orders are good. With your history, I'm not going to accept any, unless it's cash, which I don't think you would have the ability to duplicate that. I'm going to reset this. See my assignment commissioner and set it for sentencing. I'm not going to do this today. Ma'am, you don't have to come back if you don't want to. I have a fairly good memory. I'm familiar with Ms. Strickland, so yeah. I mean, this could drastically change how long I send you, but you're not going back on community control. I gave you that shot, and you literally just threw it back in my face by stealing from several more people, and apparently up in Montgomery County too. You have a theft problem, and if you've never had something stolen from you, it's a horrible, horrible feeling. And again, I get tired of people, you know, stealing once, you make a mistake, I get it, but when you've been stealing for a quarter of a century, it is basically your identity right now. You are a thief and a fraud. I don't even believe your whole medical condition, to be frank. So set it for sentencing. I'm not going to do it today. That's all.
Judge, I'm sorry.
24 CR 42112, 25 CR 42654, the State of Ohio versus Julie Strickland. Ms. Strickland is before the court with counsel. We're here for sentencing and final probation violation hearing. Has everyone reviewed the pre-sentence investigation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
First off, with regard to case number 42112, does the defendant wish to have a hearing, or does she wish to admit to the violation?
At this time, she would admit to the violation, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Strickland, on that case that you were on supervision for, you understand you're entitled to have a hearing? You're entitled to have a hearing. You wish to waive that hearing and admit to the violation? All right. The court's going to find that you have violated the terms of your community control under case number 42112. Anything else, Mr. Goodyear, on the sentencing case?
Your Honor, regarding sentencing, I know that, first of all, I would note that the victim's representative is present today in court. She spoke to you the last time, so she does not wish to speak again, but she is present.
Which case? Is that
On the new case.
That was one of the victims, right?
It was multiple victims. Correct. So we have 3 businesses that were victims because the checks were cashed at their location, but the checks were stolen from a gentleman who's passed away, and this is his daughter that is here in court today. And like I said, she spoke to you last time as well. So, Judge, you want me to speak to sentencing on both cases?
Yes.
Okay. So I know you've had a chance to, you're well aware of Ms. Strickland's record. It is not an exaggeration to say she is a lifelong thief. She is someone who, frankly, has taken advantage of people and relationships to her benefit and only her benefit for many, many years. And then on top of that, as we've discussed in chambers and in this courtroom previously, she then perpetrates a fraud on this court, claiming that she has cancer and used that false diagnosis to her benefit a number of times regarding this case. And so I think that Ms. Strickland has shown that she is never going to change, and the only option for her is to be sent to prison so she can not be out of in the community harming other people. So the state would ask the court to impose a prison sentence in this case, and I think that would be the appropriate outcome.
Anything from probation?
Nothing in addition to what was discussed in chambers.
Anything on behalf of the defendant?
Your Honor, at this time, Ms. Strickland has provided a restitution amount to my office, which has been placed in a trust account, and my office has written a check for the Warren County Clerk of Courts for the amount of $4,000 for her restitution. I also have a certificate of completion. I have several certificates of completion for 30 hours of completed online alcohol and drug education for A New Direction. I believe also Ms. Strickland has provided me with medical documentation where she has been present with and met with a pain clinic several times over the last 2 years for pain management. I would just at this time request a minimum sentence.
Ms. Strickland, is there anything you'd like to say?
Is there anything you would like to say?
I'm sorry for everything I've done, past and future.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry for the stuff I've done from the past and future. I'm reaching out for help.
Ms. Strickland, you started your criminal offenses back in 1990 down in Kentucky, right?
Yes.
1990, this is 2026. That's 36 years of you stealing from people. Have you ever had something stolen from you?
Yes,
Not a good feeling, is it?
it's bad.
Especially when you steal from people that are your family, friends, and people that have placed trust in you, and you turn around and steal from them. Horrible feeling. It really causes people to just distrust their neighbor more and more. This is pretty disgusting. And quite frankly, you did this last one with the stealing the checks and stuff. I guess it happened just before I sentenced you. So while you're awaiting sentencing on this one felony theft case, you go and do it again to multiple people. It's pretty aggravating. So at this time, the court is going to find that you are, I've considered the statements made here today, the purposes and principles of sentencing, the relevant seriousness and recidivism factors. The court is going to find today that you are not amenable to community control, and that prison is necessary to fulfill the purposes and principles of sentencing, including punishment, deterrence, and protection of the public. Probation would certainly not adequately punish you and would demean what's happened in this case throughout your history. The other thing I want to mention is not only you steal from people, but you lie to people. You make up this whole thing about this cancer and you're dying and you're trying to gain sympathy from people, and apparently it works because people fall for it. But your extensive criminal history, you haven't responded to previous sanctions, and this last opportunity, you went out and you just did it again. And I think you'll continue to steal from people because that's just who you are. Case number 42112, the court is going to order you to serve 9 months in prison. Under case number 42654, the court is going to order you to serve 12 months in prison on count 1, then 12 months in prison on the remaining 3 counts of forgery. Those will all be served concurrent with count 1, but count 1 will be served consecutive to your sentence in case number 42112. The court does find a consecutive sentence is necessary to punish you and to protect the public. It is not disproportionate to the conduct or the danger that you pose to them. And your criminal history demonstrates that a consecutive sentence is necessary to protect the public. Credit.
137 days, Judge.
137 days, all of that applied to case number 42112. Other than that, the court finds that you're indigent for the purpose of any fines, costs, or financial sanctions. The court will accept the restitution payment today that you have paid on that. And I think that's all on the first case, right?
I'm sorry,
That's all on the first case?
the restitution amount?
Or
will
is
be
that all of it?
It's for both.
For all of it,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right. So there will be no restitution ordered at this time. There may be opportunities for you to receive up to 1 day per month for participating in certain programs sponsored by the Department of Corrections. You do have a right to appeal the court's decision of your sentence to the 12th District Court of Appeals. If you want to appeal, you must file your notice of appeal within 30 days of today's date. If you can't afford to pay for the transcript or anything necessary for your appeal, that can all be provided to you at no cost. Mr. Goodyear, is there anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
This courtroom hearing centered on Julie Strickland, a repeat fraud offender whose long history of theft finally pushed the judge to the point of open disgust. What began as a plea hearing for receiving stolen property and multiple forgery charges quickly turned into a brutal examination of a defendant the court no longer believed could be trusted with another chance. By the end of the case, the judge concluded that Strickland was not simply someone who had made a bad decision, but someone who had spent decades stealing from people, abusing trust, and lying for personal gain. The result was a prison sentence, a probation violation finding, and one of the harshest character assessments a defendant can receive from a bench. The judge flatly told her that theft had become her identity. The hearing began in Warren County, Ohio, where Strickland appeared with counsel to resolve a new indictment. Under the plea agreement, she agreed to plead guilty to 4 counts, 1 count of receiving stolen property and 3 counts of forgery. In exchange, the remaining counts will be dismissed. Before accepting the plea, the judge carefully walked her through the usual questions: her age, education, citizenship, ability to read and write, whether she was under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and whether anyone had forced her to plead guilty. Strickland said she was 54 years old, had a GED, could read and write, was a U.S. citizen, and was entering the plea voluntarily. The judge then explained the seriousness of the charges. The receiving stolen property count was a 5th-degree felony, and each forgery count was also a 5th-degree felony. Taken together, Strickland faced a possible 48 months in prison and $10,000 in fines. She said she understood. The prosecutor then summarized the facts behind the charges. According to the state, during March 2025, Strickland knowingly received stolen property and then passed or attempted to pass forged writings on multiple dates, all with the purpose of defrauding others. Strickland admitted the facts were true and formally entered guilty pleas. The court accepted the plea, found it knowing and voluntary, and found her guilty. If the hearing had stopped there, it would already have been serious. But the real emotional weight of the case came from the victims. One of the key victims was represented in court by Kara Mann, the daughter of Milton Carpenter, an elderly man who had since passed away. Her statement painted a picture of betrayal far more personal than a typical forgery case. She explained that because she lived far away, she had trusted Julie Strickland and her husband to help her father with daily needs. They had lived across the street from him for years and had become the sort of neighbors a family leans on when an elderly parent needs support. Kara said she had arranged for checks to be delivered for her father's bills and asked Strickland and her husband to keep them safe. Instead, those checks disappeared. At first, Strickland and her husband claimed the checks had never been delivered. But after Kara contacted the bank, she learned the checks had been delivered, and soon afterward, businesses began contacting her saying that her father's checks were being used and bouncing. That was when she discovered that Strickland had allegedly been forging her father's signature and using his checks after his death. Kara described the emotional damage in simple but devastating terms. It had broken something in her. She said she no longer trusted neighbors the same way, had filled her home with cameras, and felt that a relationship built over years of trust had been exploited in one of the ugliest ways possible. The prosecutor added that the harm went beyond one family. There were 3 businesses involved as victims in the new case, and those businesses reportedly believed that even an 18-month prison sentence would not be enough. The state also revealed another disturbing allegation. One business owner apparently discovered that Strickland had tried to rent out a dead man's property to someone else, even though she had no right to do so. To the prosecution, this wasn't just a bad check case. It was a web of lies, forged checks, stolen trust, and ongoing deception stretching into Montgomery County as well. The defense tried to soften the picture. Counsel emphasized that Strickland had entered a complete admission of guilt, was taking accountability, and was also facing related cases in another county. He told the court that Strickland and her family had gathered $4,000 in restitution, enough to cover the losses in the Warren County cases and her probation matter. But instead of helping, that offer actually made the judge more suspicious. When the defense produced money orders, the judge immediately refused to rely on them. He openly said he did not trust Strickland, especially given her history of fraud. L.